Chapter 21, Last Day. Charlotte and Wilbur were alone. The families had gone to look for Fern. Templeton was asleep. Wilbur lay resting after the excitement and the strain of the ceremony. His medal still hung from his neck. By looking out of the corner of his eye, he could see it. "Charlotte," he said, "why are you so quiet?" "I like to sit still," she said. "I've always been rather quiet." "Yes, but you seem especially quiet today. Do you feel all right?" "A little tired, perhaps, but I feel peaceful. Your success in the ring this morning was, to a small degree, my success. Your future is assured. You will live secure and safe, Wilbur. Nothing can harm you now. These autumn days will shorten and grow cold. The leaves will shake loose from the trees and fall. Christmas will come, and then the snows of winter, and you will live to enjoy the beauty of the frozen world. But for you mean a great deal to Zuckerman now, and he will not harm you ever. Winter will pass, the days will lengthen, and the ice will melt on the pasture pond. The song sparrow will return and sing, and frogs will awake, and warm wind will blow again, and all of these sights and sounds and smells will be yours to enjoy, Wilbur. This lovely world, these precious days." Charlotte stopped. A moment later, a tear came to Wilbur's eyes. "Oh, Charlotte," he said, "and to think that when I first met you, I thought you were cruel and bloodthirsty." When he recovered from his emotion, he spoke again. "Why did you do all of this for me? I don't deserve it. I've never done anything for you, Charlotte." "You have been my friend," replied Charlotte. "That in and of itself is a tremendous thing. I wove my webs for you because I liked you. After all, what's a life anyway? We're born, we live a little, we die. A spider's life can't help being something of a mess with all the trapping and eating flies. But by helping you, perhaps I was trying to lift my own life a trifle. Heaven knows anyone's life can stand a little of that." "Well," said Wilbur, "I'm not good at making speeches. I haven't gotten your gift for words. But you have saved me, Charlotte, and I would gladly give my life for you. I really would." "I'm sure you would, and I thank you for your generous sentiments." "Charlotte," said Wilbur, "we're all going home today. The fair is almost over. Won't it be wonderful to be back home in the barn cellar again with the sheep and the geese? Aren't you anxious to get home?" For a moment, Charlotte said nothing. Then she spoke in a low voice, so low that Wilbur could hardly hear the words. "I will not be going back to the barn," she said. Wilbur leapt to his feet. "Not going back? Charlotte, what are you talking about?" "I'm done for," she replied. "In a day or two I will be dead. I haven't even enough strength to climb down into the crate. I doubt if I have enough silk in my spinnerets to lower me to the ground." Upon hearing this, Wilbur threw himself down in the agony of pain and sorrow. Great sobs racked his body. He heaved and grunted. "Charlotte," he moaned, "Charlotte, my true friend." "Come now," said the spider. "Let's not make a scene." "Be quiet, Wilbur. Stop thrashing about." "But I can't stand it," said Wilbur. "I won't leave you here alone to die. If you're going to stay, I shall stay too." "Don't be ridiculous," said Charlotte. "You can't stay here. Zuckerman and Lurvy and John Arable and the others will be back any minute now, and they'll shove you into the crate and away you will go. Besides, it wouldn't make any sense for you to stay. There would be no one here to feed you. The fairgrounds will soon be empty and deserted." Wilbur was in a panic. He raced around and around. Suddenly he had an idea. He thought of the egg sack and the 514 little spiders that would hatch in the spring. If Charlotte herself was unable to go home to the barn, at least he must take her children along. Wilbur rushed out to the front of his pen. He put his front feet up on the top board and gazed around. In the distance, he saw the Arables and Zuckermans approaching. He knew they would have to act quickly. "Where's Templeton?" he said. "He's in the corner under the straw asleep," said Charlotte. Wilbur rushed over. "Templeton! Templeton, pay attention!" The rat, surprised out of his sleep, looked dazed. "What kind of monkey shine is this?" he growled. "Can a rat catch a wink of sleep without being rudely popped up into the air?" "Listen to me," said Wilbur. "Charlotte is very ill. She has only a short time to live. She cannot accompany us home because of her condition, and therefore it is absolutely necessary that I take her egg sac with me. I can't reach it. I can't climb. You are the only one that can get it. There's not a second to be lost. The people are coming, and they will be here in no time. Please, please, Templeton, climb up and get the egg sac. The rat yawned. He straightened his whiskers. Then he looked up at the egg sac. So it's old Templeton to the rescue again, huh? Templeton do this, Templeton do that. Templeton, please run down to the dump. Get me a magazine clipping. Templeton, please lend me a piece of string so I can spin a web. Oh, hurry, said Wilbur, hurry up. But the rat was in no hurry. He began imitating Wilbur's voice. So it's hurry up, Templeton, is it? How, and what thanks do I get for these services? I would like to know, what kind of a word for old Templeton? A kind word? No, only abuse and wisecracks and side remarks. Never a kind word for the rat. Templeton, if you don't stop talking and get busy, all will be lost, and I will die of a broken heart. Please climb up. Templeton laid back down in the straw. Lazily, he placed his forepaws behind his head and crossed his knees in an attitude of complete relaxation. Die of a broken heart, he mimicked. How touching. My. I notice that it's always me you come to when you're in trouble. But I've never heard of anyone's heart breaking on my account. Oh, no. Who cares about old Templeton? Get up, said Wilbur. Stop acting like a spoiled child. Who made trip after trip to the dump? Asked Templeton. Why, it was old Templeton. Who saved Charlotte's life by scaring the arable boy away with a rotten goose egg? Bless my soul, I believe it was old Templeton. Who bit your tail and got you back on your feet this morning after you had fainted in front of a crowd? Old Templeton. Has it ever occurred to you that I'm sick of running errands and doing favors? What do you think I am anyway? A rat of all work? Wilbur was desperate. Templeton, I will make you a promise. Get Charlotte's egg sac for me, and from now on I will let you eat first when Larvy slops me. I will let you have your choice of anything in the trough, and I won't eat a thing until you're through. Do you mean that? Said Templeton. I promise, cross my heart. All right, it's a deal, said the rat. He walked on the wall, climbed up to the wall, and climbed up. His stomach was still swollen from last night's gorge. Groaning and complaining, he pulled himself slowly up to the ceiling. He crept along till he reached the egg sac. Charlotte moved aside for him. She was dying, but she still had enough strength to move a little. When Templeton bared his strong, ugly teeth and began snipping the threads of the sack ceiling, Wilbur watched from below. There's Templeton. There's the egg. I'm sorry, there's Charlotte. There's the egg sac. There's Templeton. Use extreme care, he said. I don't want a single one of those eggs harmed. This stuff sticks in my mouth. It's worse than caramel candy, said Templeton. But the rat worked away at the job and managed to cut the sack adrift and carry it to the ground, where he dropped it in front of Wilbur. Wilbur sighed a great sigh of relief. Thank you, Templeton, he said. I will never forget this as long as I live. Neither will I, said the rat, picking his teeth. I feel as though I've eaten a pool of thread. Well, home we go. Templeton crept into the crate and buried himself in the straw. He got out of sight just in time. Lurvy and John Arable and Mr. Zuckerman came along at that moment, followed by Mrs. Arable and Mrs. Zuckerman and Avery and Fern. Wilbur had already decided how he would carry the egg sac. There was only one way possible. He carefully took the little bundle in his mouth and held it there at the top of his tongue. He remembered what Charlotte had told him, that the sack was waterproof and strong. It felt funny on his tongue and made him drool a bit, and of course he couldn't say anything. But he was being shoved into a crate. And he looked up at Charlotte and gave her a wink. She knew he was saying goodbye in the only way that he could, and she knew her children were safe. Goodbye, she whispered, and then she summoned all her strength and waved one last time one of her front legs at him. She never moved again. The next day, as the Ferris wheel was being taken apart and the racehorses were being loaded into vans and the entertainers were packing up their belongings and driving away, Charlotte died. The fairgrounds were soon deserted. The sheds and the buildings were empty. The infield was littered with bottles and trash. Nobody of the hundreds of people that had visited the fair knew that a gray spider had played the most important part of all. No one was with her when she died. That, my friends, is the end of chapter 21. And it's a sad ending, but there's good news in chapter 22. So I hope you'll join me back again for that. See you soon.